Hi, I'm Wendy Lowy Sloan, and this is What's Up with Wendy's podcast. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I began my career in New York City as a television producer for talk show legends Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera. And for the last decade, I've used these experiences to create my unique style in interviewing hundreds of A-list celebrities, newsmakers, comedians, musicians, reality stars, fitness and nutrition experts, best-selling authors, and so much more. So I hope you enjoy this wide variety on my podcast. I hope you'll share and subscribe. And again, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to this special edition of part 1 of part 3 of Getting Organized. My special guest, Get It Done by Stephanie. That's her company. She's here to make your life easier. She believes that organization brings inner peace and that inner peace allows creativity and so much more. And she works on the belief that outer order breeds inner calm, and you're going to find that out. So here is part 1 of my sit down with her. Her name is Stephanie. Get It Done by Stephanie. You won't want to miss this. She's also going to come to my house, and she is going to reorganize one of my closets right in front of me. So I'm going to take you through that step by step in part 2 and part 3. You won't want to miss this. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. What's Up with Wendy? Please subscribe. Please follow. Please like. My special guest today, her overall mission to help make your life easier. Her company, Get It Done by Stephanie, she believes that organization brings inner peace and that it is the inner peace which allows creativity, productivity, and happens to help us flourish. She works on behalf of the belief that outer order breeds inner calm. Don't you just love that? Outer order breeds inner calm. I reached out to her because I was obsessed with her Instagram and I was following her trying to get myself organized. So Stephanie actually came to my house and redid a closet and transformed that whole portion of my upstairs. So we're going to talk about that and everything else. Welcome to my show, Stephanie. Get It Done by Stephanie. Follow her on Instagram.
Thanks, Wendy. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so we're going to backtrack a little bit. So I followed Stephanie on Instagram and told her I was fascinated by her organization and by her life and what she does, and that it actually made my life easier watching her, all her stories and all her transformations. So I asked her to come to my house, and we're going to talk about all that later on in the next 2 series of how she actually transformed. And I'm going to tell you at the end of this podcast if I've kept it the way she transformed it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Because
maintenance.
Right. That's the one question that everyone asks me. Well, are you going to be able to keep it like that? Well, you'll find out at the end of this. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you. I'm blown away, fascinated, inspired is an understatement.
I'm thrilled to be on here with you to talk about, honestly, what I love to do is just getting organized. It sounds crazy. Most people hate to do it. I love to do it. I can't believe that this is what I do for a living, but I'm thrilled to be talking about a passion of mine.
Okay, so before you started your business, you spent 15 years traveling around the world as a sales executive. Give us a little background about yourself.
Well, no, absolutely. Ever since I graduated college, I went right into sales and have always been, I guess, like a good talker and somebody who's always been, personable. To be in sales. You kind of have to be a little bit of an extrovert, but also a super good listener. I loved learning the whole sales process and, a long and short sale. I loved it. I did love it for a long time until I finally, after 15 and some years traveling around the country and on and off planes and hardly being home, I just lost the passion. And it was roughly before I turned 40 where I started to kind of reevaluate my whole life, I guess call it the midlife crisis situation. Just reevaluated my whole life and just was like, I don't get excited waking up anymore or anything like that. So I took a year off, moved back to Westchester County where I'm from, and just kind of wanted to figure out like where my passions were, what I was good at. And out of kind of almost thin air-ish, I, started slowly and just started to organize my friends, my family, I shortly after put together a website and just started promoting that, like with my network, and it kind of just took off. Being organized, and when I used to interview for sales jobs, they always asked me, what was my number one reason for my success in sales, and what was my number one attribution. I believe that's the word, but it was always just being organized. I was always on top of my accounts. I kept it very, I just was always, never let anything fall through the cracks. I created, systems for myself. So being organized was just something I was just kind of naturally good at. And I do very much believe, like you mentioned before, my big methodology is outer order, inner calm. It's like when you free up space, when you free up physical space, you free up mental space.
Oh my God, I so believe that.
Me
And
too.
I think a lot of us during the pandemic, now that life is kind of opening up, it's actually kind of weird, right? I was like, I started purging, I started getting rid of things. And it was like so refreshing and so fulfilling and so like, oh my God, like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Which is, pretty much when I found you. So the year you took off, did you just kind of just like take a break, or is that when you just started like helping your friends organize their homes and stuff like that? How was that time off for you?
I actually worked with a career coach because I had never really done anything besides sales. So she kind of helped me into just saying, just picking my brain, doing exercises together. But yeah, that's when I started to I was always already doing that. I was always already organizing for friends before I even thought about starting a business. So when I started working with my career coach that year and just started to, she just asked me, like, what do you love to do? Like, what are you good at? And organizing kind of came up. And this was, over 6 years ago, before the popularity of professional organizers really kind of hit the scene, if you will. So
right.
I started reading more books. Because there's a lot of books about organizing and mindsets and just different ways of looking at things and helping my clients, determine what to declutter and what to toss and what to donate and what's garbage, and really being, a full circle kind of organizational expert for them so that they can make better decisions. But during that time off, I was just reading books and helping friends and really just trying to hone in more on my craft. And because I had the natural ability from the beginning, I was just loving it because I was reading these books and I was realizing, I never really realized why I did things in certain orders whenever I organized my own stuff. I just knew it had to be done that way, but I didn't understand why. And when I started to read books about organizing and them teaching me or telling me, basically explaining like why it needs to happen this way, it just blew my mind and then blew open this huge like volcano of passion that I just had for the industry and for organizing, that I just love the whole psychological piece of it as well, because going to school for psychology and loving that whole bit fits perfectly in with what I do as a professional organizer and professional organizing expert. So combined with my sales background, so I learned how to run a business, which is currently my small business that I'm running, coupled with my psychology background and my passion for that, it ended up being the perfect storm for me, a perfect career. I got very lucky, I feel.
Yes, the benefits of being organized is that the outer order breeds inner calm. And that is going to be the line that I'm going to continue to use throughout this interview. What do you notice most about your clients after you get them organized?
I get a lot is this whole process was like a huge therapy session. Like as you were saying, like it was so gratifying to do and get rid and purge and declutter. It is like this big therapy session that I get. People say it a lot that I'm like this, therapist for them. And they just feel very light. They feel like they can accomplish more. They feel like there's no obstacle standing in their way of them completing their goals, whatever it is, whether it's going to the supermarket or, starting their own small business, whatever it is, they feel like they could finally take a nice big gulp of fresh air.
Who are the people that come to you the most? Is it professionals? Is it moms? Is it or is it, dads that are, or single dads that are like moving out on their own, or is it a combination of all?
It is actually a combination of all of them. I mean, definitely mostly I lean more towards women. Women tend to feel that they are just more interested in this kind of stuff. Men that I've noticed, women that are married to men tend to think that being organized and keeping an organized household is more of a woman's responsibility, which I feel like just is like a little bit crazy, just because being organized is a skill set that you need to learn. It's not just, something you wake up and you just know how to do.
Right.
So anyway, that being said, the husbands don't tend to really care so much. But then again, husbands have called me because they're the ones that are the ones that are organized, and they're the ones that want to keep a more organized household, and they want to get their partner involved. And some people just don't have the time to do it. So, but it skews all over the place, like people with kids, people with no kids, people, divorced dads I've had, single people I've had. So it's a little bit more of the gamut, but it's mostly with families with children, because children, as you know, tend to bring
toys and,
a lot of clutter.
Yes. Okay. So when someone comes to you, how do you start the process? So basically, like I said to you, and we're going to walk you through in part 2 and part 3 of this series that we're doing with you, my section. But I came to you and I said, I need help. And you were like, so what do you want? And I go, I could have done my whole house, obviously, which we will do one day, but we started with the closet. So when people come to you and they say, okay, Stephanie, my garage is a disaster. How do you start the process? What do you do do you ask them for pictures? Like, how does it work? Walk us through that.
The first thing, like, so if a new client's calling me, and usually they're like, exactly, it's like they're out of breath by just standing still. They just feel their home the walls are coming in on them, and they're like running in place, but so they're like, Stephanie, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, like, let's talk about it. What area of your home are you feeling like the walls are coming in on you? Yes, I do have them send me pictures, because pictures tell me a lot, and I can look and zoom in, and kind of the way that the natural habitat of a space is also tells me a lot. So that's why I do like pictures. And usually what happens is that when I'm looking at the picture, it tells me that it's, people just don't know how to organize it. They'll say, I've tried organizing and I can never keep it that way. And, there's so many reasons why things don't stay organized, but it's starting with pictures, and then honestly just getting on site and starting. It's usually just me by myself. Yes, I need my clients to help me, obviously, to make the decisions on what's being kept and what's not. And I do start the process for them, where I'll come on site. We will talk a little bit about the area of the house that they feel is, the bane of their existence. Then we will walk through the house, because I need to get that full picture scope of what's going on throughout the whole house, because a house does not run just by one room. Like, the house runs in this, this wheel that are moving together. It's like a mothership of a house, where there's multiple pieces that attribute to other pieces in the house. So sometimes it's hard to do the garage without the basement, because the basement and the garage and the attic tend to move together with each other. And sometimes the garage, part of the garage, is kind of your offspring of your, like, where your backstack might be for your pantry. So if I'm doing your pantry, I need to see there. So I really need to kind of get the full scope of the house, because I don't like to just always just do one room, because while I'm decluttering one room, I tend to end up putting a lot of stuff that they want to keep into the rooms that those items should belong in based on my review.